A very good day to you and welcome to the show. So this is my plan from now on. You will notice that I released this one last week on Friday, the day the chart went out. It's not always going to be possible for me to do that because of work commitments and all that kind of stuff. So this is a Monday podcast. And if you're hearing it any day other than Monday, it's early. Anyway, here is this week's Top 20. We have a re-entry at number 20, Haven featuring Caitlin Aragon with I Run. Brand new at number 19, Scottish DJ Ewan McVicar, Share the House. At number 18, Non-Mover from The Cure with Boys Don't Cry. At number 17, we have a new entry for Kate Bush with Wuthering Heights. At number 16, Charli XCX is down 2 with Always Everywhere. And at 15, Sienna Spiro is up 2 with You Stole the Show. Down 1 to number 14 is Miles Smith and Niall Horan with Drive Safe. And number 13, it's up 2 for Fleetwood Mac with Landslide. And we have a non-mover at number 12, Sienna Spiro, Die on This Hill. Sonny, Fodera, DOD and Baskcomb are down 1 at number 11 with Think About Us, whilst Charli XCX is up 1 place to number 10 with Dying for You. Non-mover at number 9, Olivia Dean and A Couple of Minutes. Meanwhile at number 8, Harry Styles is down 3 with Aperture. Dave and Tems with Raindance are down 1 at number 7, as is RAYE at number 6, Where Is My Husband. Charli XCX is up 3 places to number 5 with Chains of Love. Olivia Dean is down 1 at number 4 with Man I Need. Pink Pantheress is up 1 place with Stateside to number 3. And then we have a non-mover at number 2, Olivia Dean, So Easy to Fall in Love. And a non-mover for your number 1, Sam Fender and Olivia Dean with Rein Me In. Well, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit disappointed with the chart this week. Because it's a rehash. There's nothing really new in there. So I've got 3 new entries, which I shall quickly talk about. One of them is just a re-entry from 2 weeks ago. Again, just a reflection that there's so little British stuff in the chart this week that more stuff has come back up from that had left. So the Haven featuring Caitlin Aragon song I Run. It's the first new entry I've tracked. Sorry, it's the first re-entry I've tracked on this new chart. I've just worked out a way of doing it that doesn't involve a massive spreadsheet. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's the first re-entry. And then the only genuine new entry is Ewan McVicar's Share the House. Now, I make a point of I don't always listen to the whole chart because I'm fairly familiar with the songs because I always listen to it at some point during the week. But I did want to hear the genuine new entry, which was this Ewan McVicar's Share the House track. And I'm not going to lie, I really, really liked it. So obviously the title hints that it's going to be house music. It absolutely is. In fact, it's got such a retro feel. If you told me it was like an old track from the late 80s or early 90s, probably about 1988, 1989, I would absolutely have believed you. It absolutely feels like, house music of the era. So I genuinely enjoyed it. So it's not that high up in the real chart in the I've just pressed a button that's the wrong button. Let me just go to the right one. It's not very high in the real chart. Let me just have a look. It's only number 54 in the official top 100, but it has gone up quite a bit. So the week before it was 79 in the official top 100. So I would love it to break into the actual top 40. It feels like it might be on a trajectory to. It's only its second week in the official chart. So that's a step in the right direction. The other new entry, is Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights. Now, up until now, that's been in the charts because, of course, it's been used in the Netflix TV show Stranger Things, and it's entered the chart a handful of times over the last few years. But what I can't work out is on this occasion, is it because of that, or is it because of the movie of Wuthering Heights, which is the one that Charli XCX has done the soundtrack for? That is the reason for it re-entering. I genuinely don't know. I can have my theory. I'm not going to bother asking ChatGPT because it'll just make something up. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. Other than that, basically, other than those 3 tracks, it's just the same 17 tracks in a slightly different order. So right at the top, you've got Sam Fender and Olivia Dean with Rein Me In, and the number 2 is So Easy to Fall in Love by Olivia Dean. And they're actually they're the top 2 in my chart. They're also the top 2 in the official singles chart, which is really cool. In fact, this week, although the stats for the week aren't very good, and I'll go through those in a minute, the top 3 in the official singles chart are the same as mine. They're all British artists. So Pink Pantheress is number 3 in my chart with Stateside. She's number 3 in the actual top 40 as well. So that's pretty good. But let me quickly talk you through what's dropped out. So what's dropped out of my top 20 this week, 2 of them are the 2 new entries last week by Central C. So you had Iceman Freestyle and his collaboration with Jay Huss, Slaughter, both of them in for 1 week and dropped out again, unfortunately. Hasn't got the staying power of Charli XCX. Fred Again and Jamie T, Lights Burn Dimmer is the other song that literally came in at number 9 last week and then has gone this week, which is a bit of a shame. Charli XCX has performed reasonably well. So of the 3 tracks of hers that are in my top 20, only one of them has dropped. So Always Everywhere has dropped 2 places from 14 to 16, whereas Dying For You has gone up 1 from 11 to 10, and Chains of Love has gone up 3 from 8 to 5. And I'm just going to look at where they are in the real chart. So in the official singles chart, the official top 100, Chains of Love has gone up 5 from 17 to 12. I'm just scrolling down here. Dying For You has gone up 3 places from 27 to 24. And where's the last one? All the way down here. Am I going to find it without filling desperately? Clearly not. Right down. Oh, I'm not even going to bother looking. Maybe I've missed it. Anyway, so, they are going up, but I'd really like to see a number 1 or, a really high position in the chart from Charli XCX. But that doesn't seem to be happening. I think she was our best bet, with the new album coming out, to get some stuff, right at the top of the chart. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to have happened. I can't work out if it's because it's so different from Brat, what people were expecting, or just the fact that it's a movie soundtrack. I wonder if maybe that's put people off a little bit. Personally, as I said last week, I think it absolutely stands up as an album in its own right. And it's actually, for me, I think it's a better album than Brat. But obviously it hasn't caught the zeitgeist in the way that Brat did. Pink Pantheress is doing very well. So her number 3 in both the real chart and in my chart. And she was actually only number 9. So although she's only up 1 place in my chart, she's actually up 6 places in the official chart. So that's pretty cool. So I've told you what's left the chart. I've talked about what's in. I've talked about anything interesting. What else can I say about this week's chart? Yeah, there's still what, 1 track that's a leftover, 2 tracks that are leftovers from the Stranger Things thing. So you've still got Fleetwood Mac with Landslide in the chart, and you've still got The Cure. Neither of them have dropped, but both of those are in there because they were used in the final season of Stranger Things. But if we look at the top 10 this week, quite bad for British representation. So only 4 out of the 10 tracks are British. That's down on last week where it was 5 out of 10. So that's 40%. And actually, it's the top 3. It's the top 3 plus Man I Need from Olivia Dean at number 7 in the official chart. So that's not so good. Representation over the rest of the chart is okay. So the top 20, 9 out of the 20 tracks in the official chart are by British artists. That's 45%. That's the same as last week. And then in the top 40 official chart, 17 out of the 40 tracks are by British artists. That's 42.5%. That's also the same as last week. And the bottom chart position for a British artist from my top 20, my number 20 is actually the number 57 in the official singles chart. That's down 3 places last week. So my number 20 was number 54. So obviously the higher up it is, means the better British representation we have in the overall top 100. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on this week's top 20 and the official chart top 100. Let's now talk about my album of the week. My Ego Told Me To is the debut album by Leanne, whose full name is Leanne Pinnock, a former member of Little Mix, the highly successful band created in 2011 that went on to win the X Factor, the only girl band ever to do so. 6 albums followed, the first in 2012 and the most recent in 2021. As a result, Leanne shares the writing credits on over 50 songs, including 2 #1 singles. In May 2021, she released a documentary called Leanne, Race, Pop and Power through the BBC iPlayer, which won Documentary of the Year in 3 different award ceremonies. She released her first solo single in 2023 and in 2025 partnered with Virgin Music Group as an independent artist. My Ego Told Me To was released last week. The opening track is excellent. Look Into My Eyes is a bold statement. In an interview, she said that she was proud to fuse her Caribbean heritage with other styles and to put her own pop stamp onto it. The reggae influence is there right from the off, but apart from maybe the last 15 seconds, which are pure reggae, it does have the confidence to do its own thing. The second track on the album is sequenced beautifully. Look Into My Eyes jumps back into that reggae feel from the end of the previous track. It's a song that symbolises the artist effectively killing off her old self, acknowledging that everything that happened up until now forms part of who she was, but she's going in a different direction. The lyrics are striking and powerful. You're only someone when somebody kills you. A murder scene leaves her dead and gone. The trilogy of opening songs ends with Revival, and in this, Leanne reaffirms that she is the queen of her own destiny. In an interview, she said that she was effectively sticking up her fingers to her old record label, and you can really hear that shining through in the song. It's another great listen. I love the first 3 tracks. They feel like a mission statement and are consistent in tone. All 3 are produced by the same producers, so it's a bit of a shock when the next song goes off in a completely different direction. Been a Minute is not a bad song by any means. In fact, it was the lead single released from this album last July, although she has since said in an interview that maybe it wouldn't have been her first choice as the lead single, but I'm guessing at that point, 7-8 months ago, the album would have been complete at that point. One of the highlights is a song called Most Wanted. It's raunchy and catchy, and it's fascinating that an ongoing issue with this song appears to have been one of the many things that caused the rift with her original label. From the description she gave in an interview, it sounds like it was organically written, as much as any song can be, when the label are issuing notes when each version is turned in, and it seemed that they just didn't like it. If Leanne hadn't gone independent, then this song may never have surfaced, or if it did, it would have been in a highly bastardised form, which would have been a shame. Another really good song on the album is called Me Minus You. It's a listenable track. It's a slow sort of ballad, kind of romantic-y type song. It's absolutely lovely. And talking of lovely, there's a little song halfway through what would be side 2 or 3/4 of the way through the album, if you're listening on CD, called You Are a Star. It's recordings of her grandparents saying what makes members of her family strong. It's not a song per se, but it's a lovely little kind of motivational moment on the album. However, the eclectic mix of styles, basically from track 4 onwards, makes the album feel a little bit incohesive to me. From track 4 onwards, it starts to feel like a compilation. Each track is stylistically different from the previous one, and just goes to underscore how strong the opening 3 songs are. Also, there is an art to building an album. Even if you have 12 songs produced by the same team, the first and last tracks need to feel a certain way. And for vinyl aficionados like me, the choice of opening track on side 2 is really important as well. You can take 12 songs and put them in a different order, and the album will not be as good. You Are the Star, the track featuring her grandparents, is an absolute case in point here. I don't dispute it needs to be on the album, but it's absolutely in the wrong place. As I said, it's track 11 of 15, which makes it neither a prologue nor an epilogue. It would have been a very, very bold choice to make it the opening track. I don't think it would have been a mistake, but it would have been a bold choice. Although even if it had been the opening track on side 2 for the vinyl version, that would have been quite nice. My personal opinion is that it's a beautiful epilogue and should have been the last thing on the album. A gorgeous little epilogue summing up everything that she's been trying to do during the course of the album and up until this point in her life. Sequencing matters. I've listened to the album several times now, and I'm not going to lie, even before I looked at the production credits, I knew something changed after track 3. It's not a bad album. I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy listening to it or it's not worth listening to. I did enjoy it, and it absolutely is worth listening to. But I feel that it didn't quite work as a collection of songs. Like, if it had been, it actually sounded like a fan had made a playlist of their favourite bits from a much longer career. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm a very strong, trying to put it into words, I very strongly feel that an album has to feel cohesive, it has to feel like it's a journey, and this one felt more like highlights once you got to the 4th track. But it still did very well. It came in at number 3 in the album chart this week, and I believe it was the top of the independent artist chart. So congratulations to Leanne. Genuinely, I will be looking forward to seeing what she does next. That's pretty much it for us this week. I'm going to do one last thing, which I'm going to try and get into the habit of doing every week, and that is to give you 2 song recommendations. And just slightly straying from my theme, I'm actually going to make one of them a British artist and one of them not a British artist. So the 2 songs, if you're going to listen to anything new this week, I'd like you to listen to are from the International Artist Song of the Week. It's Drag Path by 21 Pilots. Hit the official chart at number 23. Obviously, my chart is only British artists, so it isn't in there. But that's really good. Have a listen. And then, obviously, for regular songs, for British artists, I absolutely recommend Ewan McVicar's Share the House. That's it. I'll be back at the same time next week on a Monday or earlier, where I'll be talking about the new top 20 and doing an album review. I haven't decided definitely which one yet, but it's probably going to be The Mountain by Gorillaz. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.